G'day doll customizers and welcome to Koala Dolls. I'm Tessa and today we are going to be going through the process that I used to create my new and probably most favourite so far custom doll. She's a little watermelon cutie. Here is the designs that I created for her. I used an app called Dollify that I just downloaded for free off the App Store. And this is the final design that I ended up choosing. I wanted big, curly, green hair, cute glasses, and a pink and green theme. I then went through my stock box and found the bits and pieces that I wanted to use for her. I ended up using an AliExpress rainbow high head, which I reviewed in a video previously, I'll link in the description. This beautiful green hair from Custom Doll Hair AU on Etsy, link in description. I also used a Fail Fix body, eye chips from a Glitter Girls doll, and a few outfit bits and pieces from Bratz, Shopkins, and Shibajuku Girls. Alright, so the very first step that I went with was getting the hair prepared. Now, this hank of hair was extremely long, which is great because it means that you can cut them down to the size that you want. I ended up cutting it in half, then in half again, and the mathematicians among you may know that that is called quarters. The reason I cut it in quarters and not just in half is because I was making a wig. As you just saw there, this head from AliExpress has no holes already in it because it never got to the stage of being rooted with hair. And I wasn't about to sit there and poke hundreds of tiny little holes in there to root my own hair in there by hand. So we went with a wig. Because I wasn't rooting it, I didn't need to fold the hair in half before stabbing it into the head. So I just made the hair the length that I wanted to make it. And I got myself a plastic container lid and some PVA glue. This is just the cheapest PVA glue I could get from Kmart. It was at the end of the bottle, so it was a bit hard to squeeze out, but I got there. I also got myself a paintbrush and began separating the hair out bit by bit. I placed it down onto the plastic lid and then used my paintbrush to really coat those ends with the PVA glue. The reason you want to use a plastic base for this is so that when it dries, it's very easy to peel the PVA glue and the hair wefts off. I kind of smushed the ends of the hair around there, connected them together with the glue to make sure that they would dry stuck to each other and together. And I repeated this over and over and over and over until I had gone through the whole green hank. Not hank green, green hank of hair. Alright, the next part that I wanted to focus on was making the space buns. I did this first one off camera and it was probably a good thing I did because it was quite tricky to figure out, but I'm going to try and show you now how I did it. So I took some pipe cleaners. It would be better to use pipe cleaners that are the same colour as the hair. However, I did not have green pipe cleaners, so that's why I'm using white ones. I then twirled it around and around and around my finger to make a little donut shape, and then used the second pipe cleaner to really compact that donut shape down and connect it all together. My theory was this would be like the hair donuts that you can use for making your own updos and hair buns. So I was just making a miniature version for my dolly. This was quite difficult to do under the camera because the tripod was in the way and the light. Oh yeah, do you like my new lighting? I finally got myself a ring light. I love it. So you're going to see me filming at my desk a lot more. The lighting in my craft room is shocking. So the fact that I now have this ring light that I can attach to my tripod with my phone on it as well means that yes, you'll get a lot more views of my actual crafting and I can do more customizing videos, which is why I originally started this channel in the first place, to just show you my crafting and craft with you and customize with you and create art and pretty things, as well as like spend way too much money on dolls and talk about eBay purchases and thrift store finds and such things. Anyway, finally, eventually, you will finish wrapping the pipe cleaner around the other pipe cleaner. And then it is time to attach the hair. So I got some leftover strands of hair from my weft creating and made a quite substantial bundle of hair. You want it quite thick because you want it to be able to spread out, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. So I grabbed some pieces and I taped the ends together to make kind of a faux sewing needle. So I grabbed quite a substantial chunk of hair, as you can see. You could even use a little bit more than that, but you don't want it to be too thick because you need to be able to get it through the hole that you've left in the donut. Anyway, then I have my sticky tape and I'm just taping the end of it together. This is not a permanent part of the thing. It's just enough to keep the hair in one piece and, like I said, use it as a substitute for a needle. Yes, this is so fun watching me struggle to do things. Right, let's speed it up a bit. All right, there we go. We've got some pace to our pace. And as you can see, I am taping around the hair. I think I've said that about 3 times already. But you know, I just really want you to know that I'm using tape here. Very unimportant to the process overall, but anyway. I decided that that was not enough hair, so here I am grabbing some more. What riveting content. Yes, fantastic. Anyway, while you're watching me tape hair, if you could make a doll out of any fruit or make a doll inspired by any fruit, which fruit would you choose and why? Feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your ideas, not so that I can steal them, but just because I think it would be really cute to have a whole fruit salad of dolls in the comments. If you've made a fruit doll, feel free to leave me a link to your Insta so I can have a look as well. That would be great. Anyway, now finally I'm threading the chunk of hair through and around the donut that I made. Okay, I'm just using my fingers to hold the end of it in place so it doesn't go all the way through. And I'm going around and around, making sure to spread out that chunk of hair each time so that it covers as much of the pipe cleaner donut as possible. And I think that is a sentence that has never been said in the entirety of the English language before. But there you go. So I just kept doing this over and over and over. If you're going to try this yourself, I suggest leaving some hair at a longer length rather than the cut down length, because it would make it easier and then you could get quite a few layers in. I did not have that forethought. Hindsight is 20/20, unlike my vision, so yeah. Anyway, as you can see, now it looks like a cute little space bun, but the bottom part, you know, isn't attached and there's hair sticking out everywhere. So how I combated this is I got myself a little container that I just happened to have. And I haven't showed you the container yet. Yep, I got some hot glue. Yep, hot glue. Yes, hot glue, very important. Sticking it down with the hot glue and the end of a comb to stab it in, trimming off the excess. Yep, now there's the little container and I popped it in just to hold it and just filled her up with lots of hot glue. Lots and lots. Oh, it works better when you put the actual glue stick in it. Yes, it does, Tessa. Fantastic work. Okay, put the hot glue in there, waited for it to dry, and then when it was dry, I popped it out and it was all held together. Just be careful not to burn your fingers and other such things. So once all my hot glue was dry, I sprayed the little donuts with some hairspray just to keep the flyaways from flying away and things. And it just kept the pieces in place a little bit better. I just used normal hairspray that I bought for my hair and then move to my craft room for crafting purposes. Has anyone else ever done that? Just bought things for use in real life and then they've somehow migrated to your craft room and never left? My hairdryer, my hair straightener, my hairspray, my fabric softener, half of my jewelry. Yeah, anyway, I also trimmed off any excess glue and hair and just tidied it up a bit, and now I have my 2 cute little space buns. And back to the riveting wefts. So this is what I meant by being able to just peel them off. Oh, so satisfying. And here is my other one, and I'm going to peel it off again. Are we ready for some satisfying PVA glue peeling? Oh yeah! How nice is that? Move the plastic out of the way and then get your scissors ready to trim your very out of focus hair wefts. So I kind of straighten them out and spread them out, and then I trimmed off the jaggedy edges at the top. I wanted to make sure that the hair was still connected to each other in wefts, but also I didn't want too much glue at the top and too many jaggedy edges because that makes it really difficult to make a wig when there's just glue everywhere. And get rid of the rubbish. And do the same for any remaining wefts. You know what's interesting? Completely unrelated, but I had a comment on one of my videos ages ago saying I have a weird voice. It's not a weird voice, it's just an Australian accent, just so that you are aware. Anyway, once you have tidied up your wefts, it is time to get the head prepared. So here is where I'm going to be using some boiling water. Once again, be careful not to burn yourself. Boiling water is very, very hot. Now, I placed the head into a plastic bag in order to protect it from the water. However, I failed to check that this plastic bag has no holes in it, and it didn't actually end up protecting it from the water at all, as water got in through the tiny hole. Anyway, so these are the Glitter Girls eye chips that I already stole from the doll previously. Once the kettle has boiled, I am going to pour the boiling hot water over the Rainbow High Girl's head. Trust me, it doesn't hurt them, they are just plastic. The idea of doing this obviously is to soften the vinyl of the head to make it easier to squish those eye chips in. And you know, just to really be sure that she's being very tortured, I stabbed her with a fork. And put a coffee cup on top because she kept on floating. These are the really professional tips that I'm here to give you, you know. After a few minutes have passed, and I started noticing the bubbles, which tipped me off that maybe the bag wasn't waterproof after all. But anyway, after some time has passed and the head felt squishy, I pulled the head out. And removed her from her plastic bag. As you can see, the head, or maybe as you can't see because apparently I didn't do this in frame, but the head is quite squishy. Ah, there we go. And so I just took one of the eye chips and kind of squished it into the socket. And, you know, really just manipulated it around, wriggled it around until it got into place. And then I did the same thing for the other eye. Now that the eyes and the head are all prepared and I'm so happy with how cute she looks, it is time to start making the wig. So I just popped her head back onto the body because it's a lot easier to hold her and everything like that if she has her body on. She looks quite cute bald, but no, we will give her some nice green hair. There we go, and custom is done. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I grabbed myself a pencil and kind of roughly marked where I wanted the parting to be and the hairline. And also I marked out two sort of blob shapes to represent where I'm going to put the space buns. I then figured she enjoyed her last experience being wrapped in plastic so much that I would do it again. And I wrapped her head in Glad wrap so that when I make the wig, it's not directly sticking to her head. I can make it removable just in case I mess it up. And yeah, then I haven't ruined the head. I've just ruined the hair. I also, tied a lucky band around her neck just for extra fun for her. Looking good, girl. Alright, now you'll see a speedy version of me basically gluing the wefts on. I started off using the PVA glue, the same as I did when I made the wefts, but I quickly realised this was not going to suffice. So I moved on to a more heavy duty craft glue. I basically started at the bottom hairline, placing the wefts on and layering them on top of each other, going around the hairline. The trickiest part of making a doll wig, for me anyway, is doing the parting. And even on the finished doll, I find her part to look a little bit messy. You'll see it mostly once I finish the wig and it's still straight, but once I've curled the wig, it doesn't look too bad. You can't notice it as much. I can notice it and I'm quite picky on it, but from the photos and things, you don't really see it. But anyway, here I am getting the more heavy duty craft glue out and just really putting it everywhere and sticking those wefts on. Like I was saying, the front hairline and the part is my least favorite part of the design to do because, it's hard to make it look natural. I'm not a professional wig maker. I've only done this a handful of times myself, and you've got to hide the glue with hair and still make it look like the hair is natural. This is why I vastly prefer rooting dolls. That came out wrong. That's why I vastly prefer re-rooting the hair of the dolls. There we go. And yeah, to making wigs. But there are just some people out there who just make gorgeous, beautiful wigs that are very, very convincing. I just don't have that skill. Maybe I need more practice, but you know, I'm moderately pleased with how this one turned out. I mean, I could have just left the hairstyle like this, honestly, and just really lent into the look. Made it seem very intentional and fashionable. But, you know, I persevered and I think it ended up slightly better than how it is at this point. Getting to the point in the wig making process where she is looking a little bit like a bedraggled sea monster, but that's okay. I ended up just adding extra bits of hair on the top, which probably not the best technique. Don't copy this at home, but I was trying to cover up the glue that was there with extra bits of hair. And once again, as I said before, it worked moderately well and I'm moderately happy with the outcome. But there we go, this is what I did and this is how I did it. Once the glue had dried, I combed through the hair and I began styling it. I needed to figure out, first of all, how I was going to attach the space donuts, where I was going to attach them, and how I was going to hide the fact that they were attached and not actually normal hair pulled up into a space bun. I didn't want to leave just all the hair around the space buns hanging down and space buns plopped on top. I wanted it to look like the front of her hair was pulled into these buns. So here you can see I'm experimenting with different ways of twisting the hair, separating the hair, folding it back. I ended up folding it not so low down but back, and then using the hair dryer to really set it in place. I did all this off camera though because it was just too hard to do while I was figuring it out for the first time. Here you can see the wig once I removed it from the doll. I did use my scissors to trim off the extra glad wrap because ain't nobody got time for that. And here are the pieces of the wig ready to be assembled. I have my long, luscious, beautiful green hair and my two little hair donuts. Yay! Once again, I did some off camera. I painted her scalp green, and that was just so that if the wig had any gaps, you wouldn't see the skin tone through the hair. It would look a little bit more full underneath. I then used my Boyle Craft glue, thanks Charles, and you know, really just attached that wig to her head. I put glue on it, waited for it to dry. Some of the sides were peeling up, so I put more glue on it, waited for it to dry again. I think I just added just so much glue on there because that wig wasn't going to go anywhere. I had finally achieved the wig that I wanted and I was not letting it get away. placed it on top, made sure the hairline was in the right place and the part was in the right place, and yeah, moment of truth. Ta-da! She has hair. So I attached the Space Buns and styled the hair around it, and then I knew it was time to create those beautiful voluminous curls that were in my plan. To do this, I raided my pipe cleaner stash and chopped a whole bunch in half. And when I thought I had chopped enough, I got some more and chopped those as well. The reason I chopped them in half was because I thought the full-length pipe cleaners were probably a bit excessive for the scale of the doll, because these pipe cleaners would become the hair curlers. So in order to start curling the wig, I first of all made the hair a bit damp by dipping it into a jar of water. This was just to keep the hair in clumps together as opposed to flying free everywhere at the whims of static. If I had a spray bottle, I would have used that. That would have been better, but I just used a jar of water because it's what I had on hand, and I just really, dunked it in there. Just in case you weren't sure what putting hair in water looks like, this is it. I then separated out a section of hair and twirled it around and around my pipe cleaner. I rolled the pipe cleaner up much like you would with a human hair curler if you've ever used one of those. And then I twisted the pipe cleaner together to secure it. I then proceeded to do this many, many, many times all over her little head. It was looking quite different by the end of it. Covered her whole head with pipe cleaners, I took her over to my sink for a boil wash. So once again using hot boiling water from my kettle, and I just held her over the sink and then very carefully, while trying to film and stay in frame and hold her with one hand and hold the kettle with the other hand, I poured fresh boiling hot water from the kettle over her head. And I didn't really think about it when I was doing it, but this made the elastic bands that I used to hold her little ponytails around the buns in place. It made them snap. So I had to reattach those afterwards. But anyway, I just really got in there with the boiling water. I really made sure that each of the curls had some hot water, because just like human hair, most doll hairs, can be styled with heat. So I let her dry overnight and for the next day, and then blasted her with the hairdryer for a little bit just to really make sure it was dry and set. And then I took out all the pipe cleaners and gave the ends of her curls a little trim, and this is what I ended up with. I think her hair turned out so cute. It turned out so much better than I expected it to. I am so stoked with it. Now it was time to figure out the outfit. I got my black paint out and a paintbrush and some different accessories so that I could add watermelon seeds to these things, particularly Pippa Melon's shoes from the Shoppies line, and this Minnie Mouse handbag. I wanted to add spots to it, but I ended up not using that handbag. But yes, these shoes are from the Shoppies Pippa Melon doll. And yeah, I just wanted to add pips to Pippa's shoes. Also, some of my girls' eye makeup was a bit shonky wonky, so I needed to fix that as well. I ended up adding some freckles because there was a mark on her face that I couldn't quite remove. And also she had freckles in her original design, so it was kind of, you know, worked out well. I gave her some nail polish, I put the pips on her melons, and I chose out some different pieces from different dolls. So this jumper is from Shibajuku Girls. And now it's time to dress her and get her outfit all together. It's so exciting. One thing from her design that didn't quite make it into this video is her round glasses. I did order them from eBay, but they haven't been delivered yet, and I didn't want to wait on this video any longer. I already waited through a couple of weeks worth of work and trying to find the time to film everything, so you'll just have to keep an eye on my Instagram to see her with her finished look with the glasses. I made these two cute little hair bows out of a spare Pippa Melon's skirt, again that Shopkins doll, and I just thought they were too adorable, and even though they weren't in my original plan, I just really wanted to add them to her Space Buns. I did this by just pinning them into her hair. I kind of broke a pin or two in the process. It was quite difficult, but I got there. So once I had finally got those hair bows in, I knew I needed to tidy them up a little bit and also trim off the backs of the pins that were sticking through her bun, just so that I didn't stab myself with them, because that's not fun when you're playing with dolls. I also realized I hadn't given her her earrings yet. So I pulled out both my sewing pins and some pinboard thumbtack type pins and tried to choose a colour. I was deciding between bright pink, pale pink or black, and I ended up going with black because I thought they looked like cute little watermelon seeds in her ears, and they would also tie in her eye makeup, nail polish and the black spots on her shoes. I love using pins as doll earrings because you can just stick them in their ears and they stay there. You can get them in different colours, you can attach things to them, and yeah, they're just a really cute, cheap doll accessory, I find. And now for the final reveal. Here is her original design. And here is our new doll. I have decided to call her Mickylee because that is a variety of watermelon, and I think it's just a very cute name. What do you think of her? Would you like to see her with her glasses? Would you like to create your own watermelon or other fruit themed doll? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe and comment, and don't forget to check out the links in my description for all the different things that I let you know about at the start. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.